How have you thought Royce has come along over these 8 weeks? Has it been steady progression? Has it been a little slow? I guess how do you view that?
I would say he's inconsistent. There are improvements, definitely, and he's done a lot of good things. But there's definitely been some inconsistencies that, we're gonna have to keep working through. He plays hard, and his mind, he's working at it. So it's just a matter of just fixing his errors, fixing his fundamentals, and just making him a better rounded player. Once he fixes those fundamental errors and fundamental concerns, I think he's going to be a really solid player in this league.
Is that just, not that you want to excuse it, but is that just typical rookie stuff? And then when you started him week 1, you just kind of knew that this is the way it's going to be?
Yeah, you definitely, I felt like once he was out there, there's definitely, like you just said, there's going to be some things he's going to have to work through, and he is. And that's where you see the steady little slow improvements, but that's just stuff that we just got to keep ironing out, is making sure, especially his fundamentals are good.
So the 3 interior guys that are playing right now, John, Lucas, and Royce, could they go to either side? Like, could those guards play either or is it better right now if John stays at left, Royce stays at right?
I think John, just because of his role last year, has more flexibility, because that's what he was last year, was a swing guy that really was ready to play at all 3 spots inside. Royce really hasn't been asked to do that yet, just because he basically came in and started competing at right guard right away. So I would say John is probably more equipped to move around as opposed to Royce.
Does Lucas have one side or another?
Oh no, Lucas he can do all of them. He's played snaps at every position inside, so I feel confident with him anywhere.
We were talking with John last week after that Dolphins lineman took that screen like 15, 20 yards, and I asked him who the guy in your room most capable of doing that would be. I won't tell you who he said. Who's your answer?
I would definitely probably say Elton.
That was his answer.
I would have said Billy, but his hands are so taped up that I don't know if he could actually catch the ball. But he's got pretty good hands and athleticism when his hands aren't all taped up. But yeah, Elton would be my first pick to see that. That was pretty athletic by that guy when he stretched out and got the ball across the line. I was kind of worried when I saw it at first when he landed on his head. I was like, holy cow, that's a big man falling right on his head.
There's a couple times where it looks like Billy is false starts. Does he just have a really quick first?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, as a tackle, you want to be right on the edge. You know what I mean? Just like as a pass rusher, you want to be right on the edge. So it's a big advantage of who can get off the ball first. We call it winning the snap. And so yeah, there are some where he might even be a little bit false startish, but they don't call it, so he's good to go. But yeah, I mean, that's one thing, David is always really good at that. Balaga was really good at that, just making sure you're getting off on the snap right as the ball's twitching, basically. So, yeah, that's one thing we talk about.
Adam, last year you guys didn't really have to worry about crowd noise when you played in Minnesota. A completely different animal this
definitely.
week. Was it as bad as you thought it would be in Kansas City, and is this going to be worse? Or
once, people make a big deal about crowd noise, but it's once you can't hear, you can't hear. You know what I mean? So, like, Arrowhead's about as loud as you can get, where if you can barely hear the quarterback in the huddle, and then you're getting out there. Like, these guys have had a lot of practice so far this year with the crowd noise, so I'm not too worried about it. Cincinnati, that was a pretty loud game. That was way louder than I thought, just playing in that stadium. That was my first time there. So we've had a few road games, obviously Arizona and 49ers. That's a very loud stadium too. So we've been in some pretty good environments. I think we should handle this one, accordingly.
How's Dave? It's not an injury question. I'm just wondering how Dave is handling the waiting game. I guess that's what's the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, he's just working through stuff. and he comes in every day, same mentality, ready to go, ready to attack the day, and it's going to be a grind for him, and I think he's realizing that. So it's just him focusing and attacking whatever he can control, just going after it.
So whenever he gets to play again, whether it's this week or 2 weeks from now, whatever it is, he's obviously played a lot of football. He's going to have several weeks of practice with you. Can he just go back out there and be typical Dave, or is this, regardless of how many more weeks it takes, is it still going to take some time to get used to that again?
Yeah, I think him being out there, from what I've seen in him in practice so far, there's flashes where he looks great. It's just going to be a matter of, can he sustain that for a game? And that's going to be the hardest thing, because he didn't have camp. He didn't have anything, build up. Practices are limited right now. So that's going to be his biggest challenge, is getting to a place where he can sustain that performance for an entire game. So that's part of what we evaluate right now, and that's going to be probably the biggest question.
Whenever he is cleared, would you think about doing a few series here and a few series there, or?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think we're kind of leaving all the options open and just seeing what's not only best for our team, but also what's best for him. So, yeah, I think that could definitely be a possibility.
Hey, Adam, if I can tap into the run game coordinator side of things for a second. With watching what AJ's done the last few weeks, and obviously he did it in college. We've seen that, in terms of the breaking tackles, but how have you seen him sort of elevate this year, and especially with some of the second after contact stuff? What does that add to a run game?
Oh, it's awesome. It's anytime you can get a back one-on-one with somebody and there's a good chance that he's going to break that tackle, that's huge. And, as you build a run game, that's the biggest thing is, all right, who do I want the one-on-one matchup? Who's going to be the unblocked guy, whether that's the corner, the safety, a linebacker maybe, usually not. But that's the biggest thing, is just getting that matchup and then telling the back, all right, you got to win this matchup. And if he does, then he gets a bunch of rushing yards. If he doesn't, he probably has an average day. So that's probably the biggest thing, is just when you're scheming it up, is to find that one-on-one matchup back on whoever. And then he's done a magnificent job. Like, those guys run through contact, they break tackles, they run hard. Coach Sherman's has got them rolling. So it's been really fun to watch.